Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today I'm going to be going over the Gems of War Murky Wood event in which the Forest Troll is added to the game. So let's go over him. He is a pretty standard troll like all the other trolls. He has pretty similar attributes compared to all of them. He doubles a certain color, in this case he does green, then creates 4 of that color on top of the doubling that it does. So if there are 5 green on the board, he would then create 9 additional green, and so on and so forth. He has 11 mana cost, just like all of the other trolls. And he has the Troll Recovery, which all the trolls have, which is 3 life gain at the start of every single turn. The 2 unique things that he has that most trolls don't have is he inflicts Entangle whenever he does skull damage, and he has 33% skull resistance. So this will make him one of the most skull resistant trolls that there are currently in the game. The other one competing with it would end up being the Rock Troll. As far as the trait stones, it is an epic, so whenever there is an epic on a given event week, it only costs 200 glory each per arcane, so it is a very efficient week if you want to stock up on arcane trait stones. This week is blue-brown. The most notable troop that you would end up trading with this is Emperor Corvash, which was actually the event last week. So if you end up picking up an Emperor Corvash, here's the trait stone to be able to trade him. So that should help out quite a bit. So as far as this troll, it is pretty noteworthy to mention looping teams. There are quite a few various looping teams that can be created within Gems of War, and there are now 4 of them that can loop between 2 different troops. And of course, the wrong team. The one that was just made today that is now possible is the Forest Troll plus Sea Troll. Forest Troll doubles the green, and then the Sea Troll doubles the blue, and of course they will just keep shuffling mana back and forth. This could be done with a green-blue banner to make sure that if you surge off a 5 times, that both of them would end up filling up because they both have an 11 mana cost. For the next one, there is the brown and purple, the other troll combo, which is the Rock Troll and the Dark Troll. This similarly can be done with brown-red, so that regardless of which one you end up 5-timesing, regardless if you 5 times the red or if you 5 times the brown, you would end up getting full mana. And the next one is the green-purple. This one's normally used with Kraken and stuff. As far as the banner, you would end up using either a double blue or the frozen banner, which is +2 blue, +1 purple, -1 red. And this will end up covering pretty much everything you need. The giant spider can get up in 2 turns. It has a magic link on its very first trait, which is really easy to get, which will give the +1 to your green seer, which will allow you to just do a +2 on the blue. Or if you're using frozen banner, you don't even really need that extra +1, though it could come in handy if you don't get any surge. That would make sure that green seer, when taken purple, would automatically get full mana in 2 turns. And of course the alchemist hellcat, which is exceptionally well with goblin rockets and can make some really nice teams as well. And of course this just loops the yellow into the red, and all 4 of those can just loop mana between each other. It's a pretty common mechanic that ends up getting used, and now we have a 4th team that can do it. The trolls are a little bit less effective than the convert options, but they are still viable nonetheless. So of other event related stuff, we need to help Roland save the forest by killing a bunch of red troops in PvP. A very low amount, only 150 that we have to do. As far as this is pretty straightforward. All you really have to do, as it says, kill red troops in PvP. Anywhere that you see a red troop, you will get an event gem for it. The easiest way to do this is go to casual PvP. As soon as you see a troop that is red, that's on a weaker challenge, boom, you can see right there, we have 3 of them that we can easily wipe out with any team. And if there wasn't anything there, you just click the 50 gold refresh, look for another red, maybe just peek here, only 1, and just keep refreshing until there's maybe like 2 or 3 on your 1 trophy. Or just a really easy battle that you can just obliterate. But yeah, and then just do those, and that's all you really have to do for that event this week. And it does end up giving a copy of Roland. She is particularly good early on in the game, or actually throughout the entire game, but when you don't have as many options, she's kind of good, because you can also get her from just completing out Forest of Thorns, and of course you can get 1 or 3 of her from the event as well. But what she does is she boosts based on armor at a really high ratio. So if you just get a couple armor buffs on her, cast her out, she can do some really devastating damage, and that boost ratio can stack up pretty high. And like right now you can see mine is doing upwards of 120 damage with its split. So very powerful, and it can reach pretty substantial numbers even early on in the game, and scales throughout the game and is mainly based on how many armor kingdoms you have. The more armor kingdoms you have, the better she tends to be. As far as the bonuses this week, 10% to all Forest of Thorns, 10% to all elementals. This combination and both of them independently won't really be used too much. It is notable to note that the new troop that was just added, the Forest Troll, is indeed both Forest of Thorns and an elemental, so it is getting 20% this week. That's about the only extremely notable troop that's getting 20% that is going to be particularly viable. As far as the bonus thing, for the bonus souls, not really the greatest. We get plus 20 souls. It's not going to be as quick as just normally farming souls, but I did create one team for it just for the sake of it. Oops, has to be an explorer. So explorer, and we're already to that team. So Forest Troll, Sea Troll, Valkyrie, and a Christinex. If you don't have Christinex, you can use just about any blue or green multi-shot there. So all we really have to do is just get a little bit of our mana. We'll start with the Valkyrie and get even more souls, since this is indeed, in a way, a soul farming team. As if you were to even bother with this, you'd of course be trying to obtain souls. Though, personally, I'd just say don't really bother. The 50 souls that you end up getting relative to other methods that you can do isn't really going to come in play. And yeah, then you just wipe it out. Oh, we didn't even get a Valkyrie cast off. Kind of wanted to get one, just so we get a little bit of extra souls. But yeah, you can just do that, and of course you get the 20 additional souls every single battle from using the Forest Troll. Forest Troll can be anywhere in your team, and it doesn't have to survive. For the most part, I'd say kind of to skip it, because there really isn't much of a point in doing it. So, PvP. Let's go and show a team for the new one, or actually two teams with it. One based on a Forest Troll Green Seer, the other one based on a Forest Troll Sea Troll. So the first one, Direwolf, Forest Troll, Green Seer, and Web Spinner. One thing to note about a Direwolf is it's actually insanely good with a lot of green on the board. It is arguably the best common in the entire game. It's also the best Hunter's Mark in the game, even though we were just given a new Hunter's Mark option last week. Direwolf is still the strongest Hunter's Mark option within the game. The main reason for this is mainly because it can cast it for free. If I'm not mistaken, it is currently the only Hunter's Mark cast in the game at this current moment in time that can be casted and still keep your turn. And that is very powerful. Any ability that can ever keep it as your turn tends to be pretty decent. So like right here, for example, I believe we have exactly 13, perfect. So what we can do is then cast this, that will Hunter's Mark it and entangle it. One other thing to note is that it does have entrapment as well, which allows it to do 2 times skull damage to entangled. So after doing this ability, that means it's essentially doing 4 times skull damage because of the entangle, which is making it do 2 times, and the Hunter's Mark itself, which is the effect of doing 2 times damage. That's a total of 4 times. So what would that be then? That'd end up being 112? 16. 116, I think that is. Yeah, about 116 damage mine would be doing per enemy like that. So that's going to be one shot. Not to mention, we also do the 21 damage up front, which is a nice little extra on top of it as well. Unfortunately, we're not really getting too good on the other manas we need. Did we just agile? No, he just got entangled. That's why he didn't do anything. We can cast this for free again, don't really need, because we can just go straight for the one shot and then do that next turn. So we'll just kill him out really easily and try to get the actual manas that we need. We really need to get these few going. Unfortunately, he's kind of, well, he's not really blocking, but we're not really getting the other manas that we need. And greens did get removed right there. So let's just simply go for either the yellow or the brown. I think we'll go for the brown. Might as well use the new Forest Troll. Can we actually get it off right now? Yeah, we'll go for it. It's actually going to be more green spawn than the Web Spinner, so I cast that first, just to make sure that we have a better chance of getting an extra turn. Double check the green and see if we can actually throw this for free. Actually, that might have not been the best move, because, well, now we kind of have to go for Skull. The reason that might have not been the best move is now we're blocking our Web Spinner slightly more. But we'll throw that down, and we do indeed land it. That gets right back up. That gets our Web Spinner up. And ideally, you would just be able to keep looping that, and then there we go. And then we could just keep replenishing the board, keep throwing those little entangles and everything whenever we want, and kind of just keep snowballing from there. Also, there's a chance, like right there, that when we cast a Green Seer, that it will entangle the first enemy. Of course, it's 1 out of however many people are on the enemy team chance that would happen. But when it does happen, that would be pretty useful and quite helpful. And then we'll throw that down, and yeah, that's pretty much matched. We can get it down for free again, and that'll bring it into one-shot range with the Direwolf. And now what we really need is a Skull. Oh, come on. Well, we can still one-shot that with a Skull, but really, Devour. And still, even with that Devourer, we can still easily one-shot it with the Direwolf, and down it goes. Unfortunately, we don't get anything extra for using him in PvP. That only applies, the 20 extra souls that we get this week only applies to Explore. So that's a bit unfortunate. It's not like last week where you could just use it in your team and just constantly get the resource. It is only Explore, and because of that, it's not really that useful. So let's go do one more team. Unfortunately, against a Sion, but we'll go and throw it nonetheless. The other version of instead of Rock Troll, Dark Troll, we're rolling with Forest Troll, Sea Troll. This is the other troll combo. We're running it with a Web Spinner Kraken. Was trying this earlier. It suffers a little bit when starting, which is actually pretty bad that we're up against the Sion right now. Should have probably repicked. But if we can get a good enough start. Okay, so I believe I did set my banner to green-blue or something with green something. I hope I did, because this was what I was referring to earlier. Whenever there's a 5 times on the board, we need those +1s on both our trolls to make sure that they do get full mana. And yes, I did make sure to do that. I forgot what banner I even set right now. It's something, I'm pretty sure I did like a green-blue or something. But yeah, let's just drown them, I guess. Maybe take a green first. I'm scared of the Spirit Fox, so I'm actually going to throw that down now. And we do land it, so that works out perfectly. Oh, very, very nice. Okay, so we'll throw that down and get the double, get everything up. This is exactly what we needed to happen. Like, this is what, okay, good. So this is what this team is supposed to do, ideally. And it's actually doing it, so that's great. So, yeah, this is how it won't always go like this, I can assure you. I was messing around with it earlier, and it wasn't actually getting this lucky. But for the video, we did end up getting it in the optimal way. And in a best case scenario, it'll do exactly what just happened. Worst case scenario, Sion will drain you forever and you will never win. But yeah, that is the biggest thing of why I made that team. If that can happen, then you just snowball like crazy. Just keep extra turning. Both the green and the blue feed into your web spinner. You can use the Kraken, and of course the Kraken creates blue as well. So you just, once it gets going, it just doesn't stop. The biggest issue is getting it going, but we got such a good starting board that it ended up working. And did I go with the right banner? What banner did I even use? Yeah, I did use the green-blue, and that was for the reason of what you saw at the beginning of the battle. Because if there was a 5 times at the start, or at any point, if we like double or any other instance, we would end up being able to get that and get them all the way capped out to their full mana with the +1, bringing them up to, for the 10, up to an 11. But anyways, that will wrap it up for going over this event. If you still have any other questions about Gems of War, this event, or anything in general. Oh, wait, there is one thing. How could I forget the one thing? Ending early, 1 second. Event keys. So are event keys worth using this week? No, pretty much not. There's only 2 things that are worth getting: the Green Seer and the Salvani Mora. Green Seer is, of course, used with what I said earlier, the Green Seer Giant Spider combo. It can also be used with the other thing, the Forest Troll with the Green Seer, like we did with the Dire Wolf. So if you don't have a Green Seer, that actually is a pretty good troop to get, and you might be able to get it within 10 if you get lucky enough, because it is an epic, not a legend. And the other troop is Salvani Mora. Salvani Mora is an exceptionally situational troop, but fully traded, it is the best entangling troop in the entire game, because all it has to do is take an extra turn to entangle the first slot. So there it is, Salvani Mora. So if you want to run that in an all-dragon team, or just in general, if you really need a skull counter, then it might be okay. But for the most part, I'd say pretty much skip this week, unless you desperately want one of those 2 troops. But anyways, yes, that will wrap it up for the video. If you still have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the chat. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a wonderful week. Goodbye.